What is going on, guys? Today we're back with another recap video. Today's Thursday, October 3rd. Uh, I stayed up all night just to trade London. I ended up not taking any trades during the afternoon, the morning, or the lunch macro because I was already up about like 60 ticks from London. So let's just begin. Because we've had a lot of movement from Monday, Tuesday, and yesterday being Wednesday. I wasn't expecting much until I saw what I saw. So again, on Wednesday night or Thursday night, uh, we had this weekly candle about um, I would say a quarter of this weekly fair value gap. And because we still haven't gotten that move outside of this gray box, this fair value gap, I was still initially feeling like there's still more uh, bullish movement to be done this week. So, as ICT says, thank God it's Friday. Friday may rally and continue to rally so that we start off the week above these dollar signs, this line. I feel like we can close the week out barely down or at least on an up close candle. So then going to the daily time frame, right? This is all hindsight, which maybe I could just go into market replay. So uh, again, this was the weekly imbalance. We had completely wicked over it and had that close. And one of my videos, I'm not sure if I talked about this, but you want to see the body candle close outside of this box because this will indicate whether or not we are going to continue being bullish. Now, if we had a close inside of here, I'd say anything more than 20%, right? So you want to grab your fib, mark it out in quarters. Anything more than 75 and lower or 25 and higher, you don't want to, you want to wait. Just give yourself more confluences to stack so that you have the odds in your favor. So because we had that close outside of this fair value gap, weekly fair value gap, this tells me there's still room to be bullish. So continue looking for bullish setups. Doesn't mean you can't be both a seller and a buyer, but I prefer to buy, so that's why I choose buying over selling. So we had this open fair value gap, right? I wanted to see price tap into it. So this was okay. So we saw time. I wanted to see price tap into it once as we were late at night on Thursday night. So um, let's just skip a little because so as we came down, right? Price action, boom, comes down. Let's hop into the 5 minute time frame. So we swept this liquidity, right? Very slightly. Came down into this. Now, for me to think we are going to be bearish, uh, let me just show you guys the last trade. I'm not sure if I had talked about this, but let me see. We had taken a trade about here, right? So it was like this candle. Let me go down to 1 minute. Make it simple. Okay, so we saw this fair value gap, right? This one right here. I took my entry here, 50%. added another contract about here, held for an hour and a half till here. Whereas I believe it was here where we sold, because we sold at these this sell side liquidity is where we sold at. And I guess with that in mind, if I wanted to be bearish, because I did watch, sorry, excuse me, I did watch it after the trade had finished, and it just slowly kept chopping down until we got this nice rush down. So I wanted to believe that maybe this was a fair value gap we can capitalize on. Uh, just to draw it out, this was all my confluences, right? So 15-minute time frame. If I wanted to see this structure sweep, so now you're gonna see all these drawings. They're about to come up very soon. Okay, so let's just get right into it. So as price continues, notice how we're still just we created this new swing low, haven't swept the liquidity to the downside, so I'm not bearish. I'm looking bullish now. And if you look at the chart, this is a beautiful reversal pattern, right? Because we've oversold so much, and we have this liquidity residing, or these buy stops, and people have their positions just placed sitting above here, 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 up here, and up here, holding for the whole night or holding for the week. So what is the market going to do? It's going to flush them out first. So you have this fair value gap entry, right? Continue. Seems like it's holding respect, and it didn't sweep this liquidity or come back into encroachment. These two black lines are the 50% on the weekly time frame, and the 50%. So this black line is the 50% mark for this blue box. This black line is the 50% of this gray box. Just keep that in mind. Another fair value gap. Seems like it wants to respect it. Another fair value gap. Seems like it respected it again. So as you're trading and you're anticipating, right? Because this is all during like 4 o'clock, right? I traded at 3, so by the time we get to 6, probably around here, is when you'll start to see the trade. But you want to see these fair value gaps hold. So like, let's say you entered here. As long as it doesn't sweep the downside liquidity, which it didn't, you're fine. You have this fair value gap taps into it, did not sweep this liquidity. That's already 2. In your head, count it 3. In your head, you want to stack that. Say, okay, so far we've been respecting bullish behavior. I might want to look at a different time frame to see if the higher time frame is also respecting. You're not getting any fair value gaps, so it's not the right time yet. You've gotten this 15-minute fair value gap. Okay, wait to see if this respects. So as long as price doesn't dip below this, it respected. Because we're getting choppy action, you wanted to see this actually be left open. This being your breakaway gap. So that tells you it's not time yet. You could have entered off this, but you would have had to sit through all this chop, right? So if that's something that you're mentally able to withstand, then be my guest and enter off the first value gap that you see or feel comfortable with. So let me just go to a 5 minute time frame because I think this is where I drew it out. Five, or I think it was like a 3 minute, maybe 2 minute, whatever. This was my entry, okay? So price comes in, tap, because I want to be very, very specific on this. So because we did not get that 50%, right? I wanted to see this candle. How did this candle react? Did we get a quick wick out? Do we tap 50% right away? What is it that we get? Because we didn't tap 50% and instead we pushed out of this zone. I wanted to take this as optimal trade entry, right? And if you want to get nitty picky, then we can see that on a 1 minute time frame, we tapped equilibrium, right? So I entered right here, right? I would show it executions, but unfortunately, this is once market closed, so it is a new market day, which sucks, but I can provide a picture just in case. I also believe I went to a 15-second time frame too. So let's continue. Now, very quickly, you have this 1 minute fair value gap, wicked out, body closed above it. That shows you what? Bullish behavior. So this could have been your new low. Okay? You entered here. We've already gone up this high, respected this. Stop can be here. Stop can be here. You're already above profit. You can turn off your screen, go do something else, double task, and kill two birds with one stone and just be more productive. But now it's a risk-free trade. Boom. Large expansion. This large expansion gave me so much confidence that uh, this was what we were planning to do. Okay. Another expansion. Got out of this weekly fair value gap zone, right? But we do come back down into this. So keep in mind, we've already gone from this point up to here, 46 handles, okay, which is also 185 ticks. When you have this rapid change within like 5-10 minutes, please take a partial. Take a partial or take your position out. It hurt so bad and it was so stressful seeing this just come down and me having to manage my stop above this area, because you see this black line? I had my stop right here, okay? I did not want to see price action come back to that area because I was um, trying to make at least some profit, and I was not gonna let this whole trade go to zero or go back to negative. So um, please take partials after 40 ticks, right? I mean 40 handles, right? So once it hits 40 handles, take a partial. You'll regret that you didn't later, because when you move your stop loss to right here, thinking price action's just gonna keep ripping, right? Watch what happens. Stopped out. Now let's say you actually had your stop loss right here, because this is your breakaway fair value gap. Okay. Stopped out. Okay. Now keep in mind, what I'm doing is I'm looking at the higher time frame at the same time. Same time as 1 minute, you gotta look at the higher time frame. If you're doing a higher time frame move, which I'm trying to catch the daily bottom to top, which was what I was thinking, right? Because if we go back to the daily now, this is what I'm thinking. We moved away. Where could we possibly go? Mind you guys, this candle was all black, right? It was all black at one point. but where I had entered, we've already got to this point. That tells me, okay, maybe today we're not going to end on a black close. We'll probably end on a purple close, meaning that we were bullish today. Okay. So, and also what ICT said that helps me remember some of these things is that when we oversell at night, keep in mind if we had closed at this price level and all of London sold, when we wake up in New York opening, this is all premium. From where we closed to where we are now, we're in a premium discount. So it influences a lot of people in the market to be buyers rather than sellers because we've already sold so much. Does that make sense? So keeping then that in mind as well as, okay, what I like to see is when we have candlesticks, right? When we have candlesticks and we have fair value gaps. Let me actually. Sorry guys, this is gonna be kind of a longer video than usual, but I would say, appreciate these kind of videos because they are very helpful, in my opinion. Okay, but guys, keep in mind this is a higher time frame. Oh my god, this is so shitty. Okay, anyways, because you have this fair value gap, right? I like to see candles at least not close through it, but eventually I would like to see if we're going to continue being uh, bullish, price action needs to balance itself. Okay? So when you have this open fair value gap, eventually price will come back in, tap into it and reject, or price will fill it because it's an imbalance. The market didn't have the opportunity to balance itself. That's why in these candles you don't see fair value gaps because the price action is balanced. We had this fair value gap, came down a little, but what did price action do? Come back up, fill it all, then come back down, come back up, fill it completely with this close, right? This wasn't enough. With this close, sold, right? That's balanced price action. All this is balanced price action. Now, I'm gonna tell you something that I think I'm starting to test and get onto. And you might hear this here first. ICT talks about imbalances all the time and mentions that we will never understand a concept that he hides from us, which he serves the right to because these are his concepts. But what about the balanced areas where price action is balanced? Are there optimal setups in balanced price action? Does price action gravitate to balanced areas, balanced zones, balanced price action? The same way he uses opening day and new week gaps for a 5 weeks long or for 5 days long. What about balanced price action? Okay, so back to what I was saying. Just keep that in mind. Uh, I like to see balanced price action with wicks closing in the fair value gap. Okay, so and it's all I need to see, right, is this wick, tap this wick, boom. It becomes balanced because price action traded through it. It didn't close, but it traded through it. So that offered balanced price action. Okay. So then 15-minute time frame, balanced price action, rejected, go with me. Okay. So Price action decides to come back down a little bit. Didn't quite finish. Right. Let's grab this fib. ICT quadrants, 25%, one tick off. How beautiful and accurate is that? Okay, so continue. Price action moves away, almost tapped into that whatever you want to call um the equilibrium. Sorry. Then I highlighted this, right? Keep in mind, what I like to do is when I see price action move away, right? Fair value gap, tapped in, respected it. Oh, why did price just respect this and then respect uh and then come back into here? What I do, this is how you find out shit works. Excuse my language. Draw a line out, okay? What candle can you say becomes 50%? You could say this candle, right? But what I look to as this was kind of like an older block because there was no fair value gap, or you could use these as fair value gaps, whatever. But I looked at that, decided to I usually take the bodies only, but it looked cleaner taking the wicks as well, so that's why I took the wicks. Price action pretty close to it, right? Slightly off, one tick, but respected. And look at the close. Beautiful. Beautiful close. Right outside of it, indicating what? Bullish behavior. So we continue. Mind you, now we just went back out, swept this liquidity for anyone going short, and returned back outside of this weekly fair value gap. Price action decides to dip back down, does not uh, give a clean entry off that fair value gap. Price action comes back. It had, I believe, made relative equal highs, and this is when I was like getting worried at this point. But I was still trying to target, I believe, like up here. This was my target. Okay, so I think this was the high, and then we come back down. Let's see. So we have that, right? Price action comes down, comes back up. We make relative equal highs, right? I think it's like more like this. Okay, relative equal highs. This is where I'm like, okay, now I don't want to get choppy and then, you know, I gotta wait until the morning. I gotta hold this position. That means I can't move my stop at this point. I gotta keep it at a level where price action can have room to sweep this liquidity because, mind you, at this point, once I'm seeing choppiness, the first thing I'm looking at, okay, we have these relative equal lows. Price action can come down, sweep these relative equal lows for more liquidity, or price action can come down to sweep this liquidity uh, because there's more orders resting below the sell side liquidity. Price action, strong dump, right? Just not very large, but very strong. Rejects off of this weekly fair value gap, right? Sweeps it, sweeps these relative equal lows, right, for more liquidity. And mind you, what time is this? 8:30. 8:30 news drop. This is a news driver. What I did was, okay, price action swept, brought my stop loss to about here. I do not want to see price action come down. At this point, we were about up $1,000 almost. We had already seen $1,000, but um, off of where I entered and where 50 ticks are, that's $1,000 if you have one mini contract. For 50 ticks, $1,000 for each mini contract. Okay, so I only had one contract, so there's no partials. Boom. Sold. Had my position filled. Gave us 73 ticks or handles. 295 ticks. Okay. That was the trade for London session, and unfortunately, um, because I only had one contract initially, I still kept it. This was my target, simply because I wanted to see bullishness on the daily. Okay. And then after, of course, you get the large sell that I completely missed out on. Right? Fair value gap didn't give a clean entry, but fair value gap did not sweep, so it's still valid. Fair value gap sold. Now 9:30 open. After we had just swept all of London liquidity, tapped back into this uh, fair value gap on the 1 minute time frame. And if you want to be picky, a little over the first quadrant, right? A little over. And then again, since it's trying to give opportunity to the New York Open, right? New people in the market. Something I want to be testing is maybe whatever London is providing, if it provided a strong move, wait for the sell below London, and then you'll probably get an afternoon run. Or maybe in this case, the morning run, because we were able to sweep this liquidity and sold right back up. But yeah, guys, that concludes the video. Uh, we did not eventually get to hit this liquidity, which is why I'm considering tomorrow to give us another opportunity, right? But with that, guys, I appreciate giving me your time to tune in. Uh, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. Sorry this video was a bit longer than usual, but it was a great video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Be safe, take care, and I'll see you next time.